It's Kasim with the Daily Google News, and today's going to be an interesting episode. I'm going to eat a little crow, which probably should be a fairly regular experience for me. But I'm joined by Steve Liberati of Steve's Paleo Goods. Steve, thank you so much for being here.
I'm very glad to be here. Very excited.
No. Well, I'm grateful because the circumstances under which we decided to shoot this video, I think, are interesting. And I'm going to give our listeners and viewers a little bit of context. We screwed up. Solutions 8 screwed up. I'd say on multiple levels of analysis. Like, there wasn't one mistake, because I think that that's generally speaking pretty forgivable. It's like, oh, hey man, I'm so sorry, I forgot to do the thing. Like, all right, we all make mistakes, let's move on. It was more of a it was a collection of errors that led up to I think a very defensively frustrated customer, Steve, who's here on the call with me. And here's the reason I wanted to shoot this video. And I reached out to Steve after everything was all said and done. I was like, man, I feel like this was such a valuable lesson for me. I'd really appreciate it if you'd help me kind of, immortalize my failure. And Steve was gracious enough to say yes. Half of my audience, half of them are agencies, and the other half are customers looking to run Google Ads. And so I think everybody can learn from this, and as much as I learned from this, because we're all going to make mistakes. And addressing those mistakes, I think, ends up being one of the most important things. And so we had a couple of fail points on Steve's accounts and campaigns that I was unaware of. And I ended up finding out about them kind of on the periphrasis, just sort of heard something about, Steve maybe not being really happy with the way that things ended up. And it was surprising to me, because Steve, you'd sent us clients, you'd said we had some really nice emails from you in the very beginning. So at one point you were super happy with Solutions 8, and then it kind of went off the rails a little bit.
Yeah, I guess just to give a little context, just looking back, I guess, first I have to say I'm a huge fan of you, of the business that you built, all the information that you put out there. I really got interested in just to learn about Google Ads, and you guys are the go-to resource. So that I first have to say thank you. And that's how I first started. Then, as you know, we decided to hire Soul 8. And I think, and this is no knock to you guys, but I think you guys have set the bar so high. And, I really do. And I'm not, this is genuine, just, coming from a very honest place. So I guess the expectations were very high going into it.
Sure.
You guys are the #1 Google ad agency in the world. So that's a big title, but with that said, I don't think I was unrealistic with my, with the results. I do think that your team did a good job at, for the most part in the beginning, explaining the process. It takes at least 3 months. It doesn't happen overnight. You don't just drop it in and on the other side, it comes out and it's like, okay, this is too easy. We're just making money hand over fist here. So right. It's a process. But I guess just along the way, I wouldn't say that I was like extremely disappointed by any stretch of imagination. I think in looking back, it was just, there was some things that could have been done differently in the account. I just don't know if it was managed, very tightly. And then just, learning more about Google Ads. There's, like I said, I think there's just some things that could have been maybe communicated a little better, just with the direction of where it was going. And, just, I guess, to manage my level of expectation. I guess it was more just like a hands off, like, hey, here's the check-in. We're on the right path.
Yeah.
So maybe it's, it was just a combination of like, the communication side of it. Hey, I was looking for more, where are we going with this? How are we going to scale it? That sort of thing, as opposed to, hey, can we just increase budget? We're ready to go off to the races. So I guess like overall, as just a summary, I wouldn't say that. I still very much, respect the company you built. I'm a big fan of everything that you guys, put out there. And I just think overall, it happens. I run my own business, and, sometimes it's tough to manage every process along the way. And it's a big challenge to maintain that quality. When you scale anything, it's difficult. And I think you guys have done a tremendous job. I think it says a lot about you that you took the time. I mean, after I expressed my frustration, you were quick to jump on a phone call. We talked through it. You explained the reasoning behind it. Then you went a step further, and then you offered a deep dive and you kind of explained the time that was put into it, and you kind of showed the behind the scenes. You know, it's easy to from the outside customer's perspective. It's like, oh, what are they doing? Yeah.
Yeah. You just take my money and throw it under the mattress. So now you're going to play set it and forget it.
You know, Liz, it's like, is it set it and forget it?
Yeah.
You know, the pellet smoker where you hit the button and you come back and the ribs are done.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, and then once you understand more about Google Ads and what's involved, there's a lot of work that goes into it. There's so many different strategies. It's not as simple as, you know, running a Facebook ad where you just throw up a picture and you're kind of off to the races, you know, at risk of oversimplifying it. Google is a lot more complex. There's a lot of different directions you can go. So yeah, then you went as far as we set up a call, you went on Loom, you set up, you went into the account, you gave a lot of feedback. You accepted or not accepted, you acknowledged that you would have done things differently. And that says a lot. I mean, I sell gluten-free paleo snacks, and sometimes you get complaints and not everybody's happy. Sometimes you got to refund a customer. You got to put your tail between your legs. I'm sorry, we screwed up. So I commend you. And, you know, I think it's a great, valuable lesson for a lot of people. So
no, well, I appreciate your time, because I think a lot of people on your end would just, why would you waste time helping coach me on how to run my business? And then B, tell me to pound sand. So you hopping on, give me the feedback you gave me was invaluable. I want to dive into my failures specifically, because again, I want to help with our audience, maybe save them a little bit. Dude, I'm so frustrated by this one too, when I think about how stupid I am, because like we work so hard to make sure that we're doing all the things right, the right ways, and then we don't tell the customer about it. You know what I mean? So like behind the scenes, you know, and speaking to the audience again, Steve came in frustrated, like, dude, what the hell were you guys doing? And so I'm thinking like, oh God, we took our eye off the ball. You know, we let spend, we didn't make the changes, we didn't follow the SOPs. And I dive into our management processes. We track everything inside of teamwork. And I'm looking like all the tasks are completed. Everything that I would have wanted to happen inside of the account has happened. I'm looking at the chatter between my team, the strategists, the CM, the specialists, like they're all talking and going back and forth and like, oh, we need to increase budget here for this reason. Brand is restricted, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, God, everything's happening the way that it should happen in the account. And then I realized like, shit, we didn't really tell Steve like any of, you know what I mean? So you were on, and the other tactical error we made was, I think that we didn't really take into consideration how sophisticated you are as an entrepreneur. Like most business owners don't know Google Ads well enough to and God, maybe I shouldn't even say those words out loud, because why would I say most, dude? I don't know. But I think the assumption was, well, Steve doesn't know Google Ads, so we're not going to explain the depths as to, hey, we need to boost the brand campaign because it's smart shopping and there's hundreds of thousands of brand impressions out there. And if brand is restricted by budget, then our ROAS is restricted. We just came to you and said, hey, we need more budget. And you hear that and you're like, dude, why are you guys pumping me for money when you charge me a percentage of ad spend like this? So I think like just the lack of communication is to, and this is what I want to say to agencies. You spend so much time working in the account. You have to self-advocate. You have to tell the client, this is why we're doing what we're doing, and tell them to a point to where, dude, people are smart. Entrepreneurs are smart. Business owners are smart. Like you can teach them all the way. This is exactly why we're doing what we're doing. And we didn't say any of that to you, Steve. We were just like, hey man, we need more budget here. And then you were like, well, you know, thanks for not just pumping me for money, basically.
Well, let me add to that. I mean, I guess you're doing a video day, all the information between the masterclass. There's just endless amount of knowledge out there and information. I mean, you can spend millions of hours on this stuff, and it can get, as we said, very, very complex. And I guess that's the challenge, and that's the balance, I guess, of an agency. And I'm not an agency, but I can understand as a business owner, I guess it's like, how much do you relay to the customer? Like you ultimately want to give the customer, hey, here's the results, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
You also don't want to you don't want to overwhelm them with information and show them how much you know. That doesn't really impress a customer, right? It's like,
yeah.
I ran a fitness business and I mean, I could break down the muscle group and this, that, and ultimately the lady's just like, I just want to get stronger.
I didn't want a physiology lesson. I'm not a triple PhD.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the age old saying, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think that's the case. It's like, I guess it's like, yeah, maybe I was getting a little more geeky about the technical side of it.
But that's the artistry, I think. The artistry is figuring out where your customer is and making sure you meet them there. And so we had a campaign for you that had a great ROAS. I can't say great. Let me back up. That was unfair. That had an acceptable ROAS, but it was capitalizing on the brand campaign. And you were like, dude, why am I paying for brand? And what we should have done was explain smart shopping, massive impressions, brand growth. This is why we're investing in brand. And we didn't do that. And so then you walk away, thinking like, oh, Solutions 8 just went and poached my brand, where one really solid session of us going back and explaining the strategy would have hurdled. And I realized that there were other issues, but we would have jumped that hurdle.
Well, I think, and also to one of the points I think you made in a previous, I think it was a YouTube video that you did, one drives the other. So like if you turn off the campaign, all of a sudden the brand terms drop, so it's almost as if they do work in tandem.
Right.
So yeah, I guess it's just, fully understand that. I guess from the surface, it's like, yeah, I mean, we're just basically, am I just paying for the customers already had? Is this just a pure, defense play? And then what, am I acquiring new customers? If I'm not, then it's not worth
it.
It's not worth it.
And we've had customers too, where we're like, just turn this off. And if you just turn ads off, you actually make more money, because at least then you're not spending on ads. And I didn't want to get too nuanced, but I did want to explain, like, my specific fail points, I think, as an entrepreneur. And then I also want to jump to fixing things, because I understood that you weren't happy, but it also wasn't, it was an easy thing for me to ignore. And I got to be honest, man, it was tempting. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, so I hear Steve's like, whatever, but I'm like, I don't know what we screwed up. It'd be great to just brush this under the rug, leave the skeleton in the closet, move on. There's more fish in the sea, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. But it's also just the wrong thing to do. So again, speaking to the agencies, and honestly speaking to the customers, like, if you feel some type of way, as my brother would say, raise your hand. And just be like, hey, this is, which is exactly what you did, man. I really appreciate that. Our 3 core values are truth, responsibility, and heart. And the truth is the first and the most important. Without the truth, we can't take action. Yeah. So you raising your hand, I thought was that was the catalytic moment. And then for the agencies out there, like, do the uncomfortable thing, take your whipping. You know what I mean? Like, get out in front of them and be like, hey, and don't try to justify anything. Get out there and be like, hey man, I'm sure I probably screwed this up. Because if somebody feels or hears defensiveness, they're not gonna give you. And Steve, you gave me such great feedback, coaching, insight, like a bunch of stuff that I just wouldn't have gotten without it. So that was such a valuable conversation for me, and I really appreciate it.
Well, honestly, I mean, absolutely. And I think it's more just coming from a place of respect. Like I said, you have shared a tremendous amount of knowledge with everyone. I've learned a lot more. It got me really interested and curious, about Google Ads. So I just, I guess my approach, I was, obviously frustrated, and I could have, approached it differently. But like I said, it just came from a place of respect. Like, otherwise, if I really didn't care about Soaid and I was not really, I would have just moved on and just been like, yeah, screw those guys. So same thing you said about, losing a customer. So that just, I think that's a reflection of you as a company. I mean, you guys, you care. That's like, that's the secret sauce. It's not just about, again, who could run, who's the smartest guy, and who's the best technician with these Google ads. Just, there's a lot to it, I think. And I guess, like, that was my other point I would just want to bring up. And, whether this helps anyone, just from my personal experience, it's not just as simple as turning campaigns on. But there's a lot to make this thing work, and there's so many layers. So I recognize that there's a lot of challenges in explaining everything. Like, a lot of things have to be work in sync for the whole thing to work. It's like, going back to, this is what I know, but like a fitness analogy, you can't just train your legs and expect to get the results. Yeah. Like, the marketing, the website, the product itself, that's still extremely important. You can get the clicks and you can run the best campaign, but it all has to work holistically. And that has nothing to do with, I guess my experience, but I guess I would just, using this as an opportunity just to bring that up.
No, that's great. Well, you're a veteran entrepreneur too, so I think your advice it's welcome, and I'm grateful for it. What other advice do you have for the business owner? I've been talking to the agency because that's my context, but like business owners that are, they've got something, they want to get the word out. Maybe they're looking at an agency. Maybe now here's the truth too that I think is really interesting. I offered to run your campaigns for free on the heels of my mistake, and you said, actually, dude, I'm going to take this and I'm going to do it myself, which I really respect. Because you've got obviously the knowledge and the wherewithal to do it. And for a lot of business owners, and this is a weird thing for me to say because I run a Google Ads agency, I think that can be a good look, especially in the short term, because you're in it and you can really keep your finger to the pulse. So if you have what you've got, which is the technical proficiency and the know-how, there's a lot of reasons to do that, even if you're going to outsource it later, because now you really can manage whatever agency or person or freelancer that's doing it. So where do you think that line is? When do you do it yourself? When do you outsource it? If they're going to outsource it, what advice do you have, et cetera?
Yeah, great question. I really think it depends on, it comes down to the business owner, their skill set, their time.
Right.
I spend a lot of time just learning about Google Ads, probably more time than I should. The question is my time spent, better elsewhere? Should I be making phone calls, picking up the phone, making sales, getting my team together, building out the team? So I guess as a business owner, is that time better spent elsewhere? It depends on, I guess, where you're at, where your goals are, how big you are as a company, how many employees. There's a lot that goes into it. I don't know if most CEOs or most business owners, I can't say, I don't know if they have that much time in their day to spend learning about Google Ads. I would probably venture to say most of them it's in their best interest to find a good agency, to seek out a sole weight, and have them as an extended team. That probably makes most sense. It just so happens, where we're at right now, it made sense. It makes sense for me. And I changed around my structure and kind of my workload to kind of, I like to do things that I get excited about. So
yeah, I like to do that too. I build my whole business around me doing what I like to do, which is not like the most efficient, most profitable, but it's where I get a kick out of waking up in the morning, So yeah, I'm going to go do the thing that I want to do or that I like to do, and that'll just keep me engaged.
Yeah. I probably should be making phone calls all day and calling on, retail stores and all that, but I don't know. It's challenging, this stuff, there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
And it's like, just once you think you have an understanding of something, you're like, oh my God, there's many different ways you could skin this.
Dude. And then Google keeps changing. I released my very first course, You versus Google. Yeah. I released that course, and then Google made a string of like insane changes that it didn't nullify the course, but it diluted it enough to where I was like, crap, man, like it's almost unfair. And then I released my second course, which is e-commerce masterclass. And I'm like, all right, well, this is the updated version. And we went back, reconciled that, gave everybody who bought You versus Google free access to the e-com masterclass so that they felt like, okay, we're updating things. And then Google releases Performance Max. And I'm like, well, what are you doing? Like every time I put out a piece of content, Google basically nullifies the value of it. So I'm done with course creation for now, because I'm beat down. But
well, it seems like they're always a step ahead, Google. This is their world, right? They truly have the smartest people in the world on their side. So
yeah, I'm so impressed with Perform. Have you played with Perform? I know you have. How's it looking?
So again, credit to you. You recommended Performance Max on, I think it was March 11th. Where are we at now? What's today's date? We're already at the 23rd.
Yeah, 12 days later. How's it look?
Knock on wood, it's kicking ass.
Dude, it's in 12 days. That's unbelievable.
I know. So I don't want to, go out and celebrate, but yeah, it's doing really well so far. Just to touch on it, like, it seems like from the offset, it's like, oh, Google does everything. And there's not a whole lot of, I guess, control from a brand standpoint, but I guess, learning more about it. It seems like there's still a lot of opportunity to, I guess to steer the boat on it. It seems like it comes a lot down to your assets and, your
assets, audiences, the insights. Yeah.
So it's not as simple as just, again, you just set it and forget it.
There's maybe 3 times as much control over Performance Max as there was over Smart Shopping.
Yes.
Like Smart Shopping was very black boxy, and we just had to kind of live outside of the black box. And Performance Max, you can really get in there. I get that. I'm partial too, because they extended the lifetime of an agency by another 10 years maybe. But I
Yeah.
love the damn thing. I'm so excited about it.
Well, it's funny, that shopping campaign was doing, fairly well. And then all of a sudden Performance Max comes, shopping campaign stops spending.
Yeah. Performance Max kills everything. That's why everybody, dude, I talk to friends. I'm like, oh, you play with Performance Max? They're like, yeah, I turned it off. It stole from my other campaigns. And I'm like, let it. You mean it took all the money you're spending on other campaigns and it made it more efficient? Like, why on earth would you? But yeah, they don't like that because they're just so stuck in their ways.
Yeah. And then the responsive ad actually stopped too. That kind of took a little dive.
Did it really? Interesting.
I don't know if one is related to the other. But Performance Max seems like it's kicking ass. And then the other thing is, this might be some helpful advice. So on a few days, I went in and looked to see who the customer was. And I obviously, from the Google side, you can't see who the customer is, but I look at the dollar amount and I said, okay, they made a $75 purchase. I went on to my website to find who made that exact purchase. Then I put it into Shopify or the website and said, did that customer ever buy before? They didn't.
New customer acquisition.
Yeah, it's new, and that's the goal. That's gold.
Yeah. So Performance Max has a feature that's currently in beta. It's been applied to a few of our customers now, but it'll be available for everybody hopefully in Q2, I think. Yeah. I don't know why I just said that date range. I'm not sure where I heard that, so maybe nobody quote me on it. But it's new customer acquisition specifically, and you're going to be able to tell Performance Max only go after new customers. That'll be absolute game changer.
Yeah, I don't think this is the right call for it. And you went into it. You talked about it, I think, on the Performance Max call that you did video. But the in-market affinity group. I mean, you're moving pretty fast, but that seems like where there's a lot of it takes some assortment to figure all that out.
Dude, the audience targeting, Steve, is so expansive. I've never seen anything like it. The thing that I like the most, we just did a video on this with all of our strategists on one call. But we were all talking about the custom segments and how you can take what somebody's searched for in the past in Google and you can use that to build a segment. Like the power there, it's insane. I didn't mean to turn this into a Performance Max Trojan horse, but I got excited because I knew you were running it. That's great, man. 12 days into it and Performance Max is already killing it.
Well, I think you got Molly excited too. She was kind of a little hesitant or skeptical of the whole Google, going after.
Yeah, well, she's the Facebook goddess. You know what I mean? She's the one that taught us all Facebook ads. But what's cool is Performance Max functions a lot like Facebook used to. It's like, oh, I want to go after this audience.
Yeah, but like you said, I think they're just careful of how they pursue it with the privacy stuff.
Yeah, they're sneaky buggers over there at Google.
Yeah.
Last words to you, Steve. If anything else you want to say, anything else we need to close out that we didn't touch on?
I think we hit on everything that we want to talk about.
What's next for you entrepreneurially? I know you've got, you do a lot, man. That's really impressive. What do you got going? What are the irons in the fire?
Just continuing to try to optimize these campaigns, learn from the best, which is, it's 08, you guys, it's the content that you're putting out. I think it's very, very valuable. Trying to continue to navigate my way through these challenging times. It's, as a business owner, it's tough. Now there's a million, everybody and their mother has a online, e-com company. So
yeah, it's nuts. Are you having like supply chain issues and fulfillment and stuff?
Unfortunately, we are not. No. So we have like vertical integration. So we self-manufacture most of our products. But yeah, we haven't run into too many supply chain issues. We had a few, but nothing major.
That's great. Yeah. I saw a lot of our e-com clients had to hit the pause button on certain product lines because it was like, well, we can't get that anymore.
Yeah. No, I know. Definitely a lot going on out there. No, I think, I think just the digital advertising landscape, continues to change, and that poses a lot of challenges to business owners when you rely on one channel, and then it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
That's, I think that's the biggest thing, is just how do you acquire new customers? Before it used to be word of mouth and you rely on it, somebody tells somebody else, but it ultimately comes down to awareness. You have to get it out there and get it in front of people, new people's eyes. So it's that's where Google comes in.
Yeah, no joke. Do you do any community building? Do you have a podcast or a channel or any of those things?
I do not. No.
You'd be good at that. That's something, not that I'm not trying to over insert myself in your business, but man, like building a community was the best thing I did around my business ever.
Yeah. No, I know your advice was, pick one channel, Twitter,
Yeah. And just own it.
YouTube, and just own it. Yeah. I'm more of I don't know. I guess this sounds like a weak statement, but I'd like to roll my sleeves behind, just humbly get things done. But you have to. I mean, you're doing it right. You have to put your name out there. You have to put the information out there, and that's how people find out about you.
Yeah. Well, especially in your niche too. Like that's a highly educated consumer who's ravenous for content.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of like misinformation. So I feel like you could be a real voice there.
The thing is, in my business, in the industry, the fitness industry, there's just so many influencers, and I just feel like it's been beaten to death. The podcast, and I mean that's kind of like the positioning of kind of where we are at our company, just with helping people eat healthy. I don't know, and I just think it's been overdone. You have just so many. Everybody and their mother has like the best fitness program, and everybody's offering fitness and health advice. It's like what can I say?
So I think fitness is burned to the ground. I was thinking more like the paleo stuff, like the food products, and maybe and this, you might tell me that's also saturated. I don't have a finger to the pulse of the industry enough to know, but I get intimidated by it. So having a trusted resource who can say like this, not that, and here's why, and grass finished is better than just grass fed because, and those things.
No, Kasim, there's so much, like you said, I think it is oversaturated. And I mean, ultimately, like I thought about coming out with, just kind of putting out the message, keeping it simple and just focusing on the foundation, the basics. But it's like, that's boring. People love the shock value of, I don't know if you follow Liver King.
No, I'm going to Google him. Liver King.
Oh, he's an internet sensation, man. I think he broke the internet. His videos, I mean, he's huge, all jacked up. He pushes he sells like a supplement line.
Oh yeah, that dude is holy
all
crap.
Organic traffic. I mean, he's absolutely crushing it. But I don't know. I'm just not I don't want the spotlight like that. I'll tell people to avoid processed foods, avoid sugar, and then what? I mean.
And then where do we go? I struggle with that too. In terms of creating content, like.
Yeah.
You just run out of stuff to say sometimes.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know. That's why I'm clutching at straws so much that I'm like, well, I screwed up. Let's go tell people about that.
Is this the last one you're doing? Is this the final finale?
No, but I think this is good. Like, sometimes I get some questions like, I can't believe that you said that. Or I can't believe you put that video out there. And it's like, man, that's what people want. They want the raw, the real, the nitty gritty. Like, I can't sit here and pretend like I run a perfect business. People would see through that. Like I'm clearly I'm not the polished ivory tower agency guy. I'm like the scrappy, like I'm trying to figure this out.
Absolutely. And you're authentic. I mean, you're not sitting there claiming that you have all the answers. And I think anybody that's going to hire you realizes that it's changing, and you don't say, okay, what worked yesterday is going to work tomorrow. Yeah. It shows that you're willing to change and adjust and constantly learning, right? That's what this game is.
Yeah, no joke. Well, I really appreciate you, man. Grateful for the time today. I hope we get to stay friends and stay connected. I appreciate the opportunity to improve, and you're awesome, man. Thank you.
No, thanks for giving me the opportunity, and I look forward to continuing to talk to you and work with you.
Yeah, likewise. And if you're watching this, I shoot a video every day. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Wait, before you go. I'm constantly looking for amazing people to come join our team. So if you're passionate about Google Ads and you're passionate about customer success, please go to soul8.com/apply. And we'd love to see you as a part of the Solutions 8 team. Also, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. It lets the YouTube algorithm know that we actually know what we're doing. And don't forget to subscribe. We shoot a video every single day, and I don't want you to miss out on any of it. Lastly, if you have questions, comments, concerns, confessions, or you just hate my face and my voice, go ahead and hit us up in the comments. We get very little human interaction, and even the heckling is something that I kind of get a kick out of. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being subscribers if you're a subscriber. Don't forget to apply if you're interested in working at Solutions 8. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow.